He's now free to go back to New South Wales and his wife and kids. Really, this verdict is a slap in the face for Bligh, especially after he's worked so hard to nail MacArthur. A devastated Bligh seeks comfort from his patron, Sir Joseph Banks.
Oh, no doubt MacArthur used his influence with Lord Camden. And Johnston has friends in estimable places.
Mutiny and treason don't seem to trouble people these days.
Oh, everyone knows poor Johnston was used.
A surgical instrument dipped in rum.
I'm told one of the judges was unable, through ill health, to attend on crucial days of judgment. He wanted nothing less than the full measure of the law to be meted out.
Did they read out my declaration?
Yes.
I thought they should know some of the history before they start calling me a coward, hiding behind some damn bed. They need to know that I served with and was thanked personally by Lord Nelson himself.
I know. It was read.
Did the court entertain any motive for the outrage performed on me and the colony?
No, they deemed it to be some folly.
No, it was no folly. We know why they did it. We all know why they did it.
A few years later, Bligh dies, a bitter man, his reputation forever tarnished as a tyrant and the governor who hid under the bed. And our man MacArthur, he too pays a price. MacArthur is forced to stay in London when the authorities threaten to put him on trial if he returns to New South Wales. It's 8 years before he can return home to Elizabeth. They now have thousands of merinos and lead the way in an industry which will bring enormous prosperity to Australia, but commandeer vast amounts of Aboriginal land. MacArthur is not the man he was. In his later years, he'll go insane, but not before he's locked horns with yet another governor and left his indelible mark on the history of Australia. The Rum Rebellion is notable not for its violence, but for the fact that no one got hurt. In the absence of democracy, the people of Sydney had changed a government which had become unacceptable. It didn't usher in a new world order, but it does show that many of the people had started to care about government, ambition and justice. They may have come here as rogues, but they were starting to reinvent themselves as a nation. The man who would drive that process dramatically further was Bligh's successor, Governor Lachlan Macquarie. Macquarie, more than anyone, saw the potential for Australia moving beyond its beginnings as a convict colony, not just for the country, but for the convicts themselves. Macquarie wanted to give the prisoners a fresh start. He cleaned up Sydney and erected gracious buildings such as these. And he made friends and colleagues of many ex-convicts and set lots of them up with farms. Now, Macquarie was no saint. He was often vain and reckless with money. But he realised a great truth, that many of the ex-convicts and their children were no longer exiles. This had become their home. It was a fine idea as far as it went, but not everyone agreed that ex-convicts should enjoy the full fruits of liberty. In the next part of Rogue Nation, there'll be some who feel that old convicts should simply know their place and do as they are told. How the colony handles that idea will be the next big step in Australia's journey from jail to nation. By the early 1800s in England, the glories of the Industrial Revolution are building the modern age. But millions of people are suffering lives of exploitation, poverty and ignorance. And reformers are demanding change. The Industrial Revolution is also bringing about a revolution in ideas about what it means to be human. The convict settlement on the shores of Sydney Harbour is now 3 decades old. And in this place of exile, a great miracle is unfolding. The children are growing up taller, stronger, and more sober than their convict mums and dads. These boys and their sisters will soon be calling themselves Australian.
Native youths, generally fair, blue eyes, tall, and developing a distinctive accent.
Bloody convicts!
Seemingly free of the vices of their parents, but they do not seem to know their place.
That bloke is Commissioner Big. Word has reached London that Governor Lachlan Macquarie has turned this prison into the convicts' land of opportunity, and Big's been sent here to investigate. The people who really impress him are the exclusives, a small group who've come here as free settlers or officers and done well. People like the MacArthurs.
So, Mr. Rudd, this is your prize merino?
Most welcome here, Mr. Big. You must treat our small farm as your home away from home.
Oh, it's a fine place.
Ah, well, quality merino, staring us in the face. And England shall never want for fine wool if we are given the resources here.
Oh, well, this is good news.
And nothing, this land, Mr. Big, from nothing. If left to that fool Macquarie,
Papa.
it would return to nothing.
Perhaps we should go inside.
Well, I suspect that Mr. Big is a man after my own heart.
I believe I am, sir.
And Macquarie has no respect for what we're doing here, the bloodlines that we've produced, nor the wealth that can be created for king and country if we are given more land and convict labour.
Well, you're not the first to say so.
I swear that man has given me gout.
Mr. Big, would you like some lemonade?
Thank you so much.
You've seen the ships arriving, sir. 10 filled with convicts in the past few months. And we don't see them. Now, Macquarie gets them for his government labour.
Oh, the boy's right. Go this way, Mr. Big. Well, don't tell me an ex-convict can sit on a jury. They're not impartial. How can they be? They all want to bring respectable people down to their level. That is the convict's way.
Lemonade, sir?
Oh, thank you.
Father feels the convicts have been less respectful under Governor Macquarie.
Well, they're demanding their rights. What rights? Rights! This colony needs an aristocracy, just to keep it stable. Men of capital. There is a dangerous democratic feeling taking root here. Nip it in the bud. Oh, now, has that letter gone out to Wentworth?
Yes, Papa.
Yes, private matter, a marriage proposal. Rejected. Unsuitable. Convict staying.
No.
Yes, there's no need to write that down.
Mr. Big likes what he hears. Australia is a wool exporting country run by prosperous exclusives. Just the thing to keep decent Britain safe from radicals and Democrats. But bad news for the Aborigines. The original inhabitants, the Aborigines, are in crisis. They have lost their lands and have been decimated by smallpox. At sunset each day, Sydney Aborigines can be seen crossing the harbour in front of Government House to the North Shore to find thick trees or hollow logs where they spend the night. They still hunt and fish, but white man's bread and grog are winning out. As the colony progresses, their situation will only get worse. "10,000 miles away, on the other side of the world in London, the colonial-born son of a convict, W.C. Wentworth, is studying law. Somehow, Wentworth has also found time to write a major book. It's a travel guide for migrants. It's also a savage attack on imperial rule in New South Wales.
My sole aim, my only aim, my sole aim is to promote the welfare and prosperity of the country which gave me birth.
In England, the old order of class and privilege is being challenged by radical Democrats like Tom Paine and Jeremy Bentham, who argues that the good society is based on the greatest happiness of the greatest number.
Free representative governments are the only foundation on which the prosperity and happiness of communities can safely repose.
Wentworth is not really a Democrat, but he is the son of a convict, and he reckons that his lot should have the same rights as any freeborn Englishman. So he's a huge supporter of the current governor, Lachlan Macquarie. And Macquarie is proud of what he's achieving. 265 projects built by convicts, some even designed by a convict. He's confident that Big's report will be, he says, highly honourable to my character. But Big has no time for Macquarie's good works. He wants the words New South Wales to strike terror into the hearts of criminals back home. And he condemns Macquarie's public works program as absurd. And it doesn't end there.
Now, Your Excellency, you have a notion to appoint one Mr. William Redfern to the bench of magistrates.
I've given him my word. He will be appointed.
The appointment will give great offence.
The man is one of our finest surgeons.
If you appoint him to the magistracy, it might well be annulled.
Put this in your notebook, sir. Write. Write. You've come here to write, so write. As senior surgeon, Redfern initiated medical treatment for men on the convict gangs. His reports on our transport ships has transformed the way we do things here. He's worked tirelessly for the Aborigines Institution, the Benevolent Society. He's on the board of the Bloody Bank.
He's a convict, which is why the Colonial Office would not appoint him chief surgeon despite your recommendations.
He's done his time.
A convict cannot become a magistrate. There is no place for such a man within the law.
Damn your narrow mind, sir.
May I suggest, Your Excellency, that we continue our discussion at another time, preferably in writing?
Out there on those streets, there is industry and temperance. I have seen convicts rise to take their place alongside fellow citizens. And if you don't see any of that, sir, you really are a fool. Sir!
In writing, Your Excellency, I think that will be best.
Biggs's mostly negative report will be published by the time Macquarie returns home to England. He's devastated by its findings. Soon afterwards, he dies, a hero to his friends and supporters.
To Governor Macquarie, who has raised to situations of the highest trust and dignity of many deserving persons who have been convicts.
Wentworth knows what it is to be an outsider. His mother was a convict, and he's always wondered why his father, one of the wealthiest landowners, is shunned by Sydney society. He's about to find out. A pamphlet written by an English MP exposes his father's hidden past as a highway robber. This on top of John MacArthur's letter rejecting Wentworth's offer of marriage to his daughter Elizabeth. So, of course, Wentworth dreams of a colony where convicts and their children can aspire to greater things. As Wentworth sails home, he and the MacArthurs are now in rival camps. The MacArthurs will lead the exclusives, who believe that those tainted with convict blood have no place in polite society. Back in Sydney, Wentworth issues a rallying cry to the emancipists, the ex-convicts and their children. He is on a crusade to win self-government for all whites in the colony and to make his own mark on history.
I will create for myself a reputation which shall reflect splendour on all who are related to me, and remove the fangs of the MacArthurs from New South Wales.
He's persuaded fellow barrister Robert Waddell to come back to Sydney, and together the pair have set up a newspaper named defiantly The Australian. After a year, Wentworth relinquishes his share. From now on, his battleground will be the courts.
One of his first cases, a young currency lass of no fortune,